Hello and welcome to our backstage diary here at the Theatre Royal Haymarket. We're currently preparing for our press night, which happens this evening. Today we're going to be talking to two of the actors involved in the production, including Harry Lloyd, who plays Willie Carson in the production. So we're here talking to Harry Lloyd, who plays Willie. Harry, do you mind just telling us a little bit about the part of Willie?
Willie is a 21-year-old young man who, at the start of the play, is involved in a horrific accident where he loses his best friend and spends the rest of the play kind of struggling to come to terms with that in the simplest description you can get.
Possible terms. And obviously the play's billed as a comedy. It's not particularly comic from Willie's point of view, is it?
No, not really. He's not really involved in the comedy. He's kind of the tragedy that makes the comic bits funny. He's the thing that it bounces off. He's this constant reminder of the seriousness of it and how everyone deals with things in different ways.
Cool. Is there anything in particular he kind of comes up against that questions that morality, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, the big turning scene for him is when, instead of struggling with the grief and all the questions and not understanding why they were there that night and why it happened and why Colin died, he kind of gets to this place where he stops asking questions and just says, yeah, life is rubbish and it is horrible. Just don't try and pretend otherwise, just look into it and gain strength from that and just strive through with your head up, don't duck beneath it.
Cool.
And that's kind of the journey that he makes.
Cool. And so before this, I know you've done a lot of TV work. How are you finding working in such a big kind of stage arena?
Yeah, it's really different. I mean, the main thing is just the difference of the play, which is nothing I've done before. And added that to the scale of the theatre. And I haven't been in such a big space since university. As you can tell, my voice is struggling a little bit, but that will come. So there's been lots of new things to learn all across the board.
So we're speaking to Philippa now, who's playing the role of Davis. Do you mind just telling us a little bit about your character to start with?
Well, there are not many clues about Davis, because she only comes on for very, very little time. She's a servant. Mrs. Tilehouse says she's an under-servant who apparently has stolen her smelling salts. She works for Mrs. Raffy and does a good job. She's a little bit in awe of Mrs. Raffy, but she knows her place.
But is she scared of Mrs. Raffy, do you think?
I think she is scared, but she has the confidence of knowing that Mrs. Raffy is getting good service.
Right. So you know the part of Mrs. Raffy quite well, because you're also understudying Eileen and Marsha as Mrs. Tilehouse. How are you finding that? It must be a lot of work.
Yes, it is a lot of work because Mrs. Raffy is a huge part, and Mrs. Tilehouse is on most of the time that Mrs. Raffy is on. Sometimes it's a little difficult because at 2 points in the play we talk together, and I find it very difficult to work out who is saying what, where, when, but I expect if I had to go on for Mrs. Tilehouse, I'd just forge on.
Well, we hope to see it one day. You've been here before, haven't you? You've done a show here before with Sir Peter Hall, is that right?
That's right, it was Lady Windermere's Fan.
Right.
Peter Hall. I played Lady Stupfield and understudied Vanessa Redgrave.
Wow.
Completely different kind of play, kind of production. We were all trussed up in Oscar Wilde, lovely dresses. And I was on this floor and I was in the dressing room next door to this one.
Brilliant. And you pleased to be back?
I'm very pleased. I
Great.
love it here.
Brilliant. Right, thanks very much, Philippa, and best of luck for the performance.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.